Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Reviews book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. I've got my co-host today for a couple of minutes. Please hit the thumbs up to let me know I'm doing a good job. As you know, I don't have any fancy equipment or fancy microphones or anything like that. So it's just me, my limited means, talking about Star Trek or talking about books. There's nothing special about me. I'm hoping that you give me a thumbs up and you stick with me. Okay, this is the final episode of Disc 3 of Season 3, The High Ground, episode 160. In this episode, there's a voice overview. I like it when they have voice overviews. I don't know why, but I do. So in the voice overview, it says that the Enterprise has been sent to deliver medical supplies to a planet that is not part of the Federation but enjoys a trading relationship. From what the captain says in the introduction, the planet is in the middle of a civil war because a certain group of people would like to be separate and rule themselves. Now, where have I heard that before? And we will get into that later. In the next scene, Dr. Crusher and Worf are eating lunch when Data comes and tells them it's time to go. And she goes to call the waiter. I'm like, Jesus, really? There's waiters on other planets? Okay, that's what they call them. So there's a bomb goes off, and Dr. Crusher goes to help, and she sends Worf for bandages, even though he protests. And Data informs the captain of the situation, and the captain tells him to beam up immediately. But Dr. Crusher refuses because, as a physician, it's her duty or job to treat the injured. Picard and Riker have an exchange on the Enterprise. Riker says he doesn't want to be the one to greet her when she comes in the transporter room. So Picard, against his better judgment, tells Data to hold his position, as Data says his device cannot detect any more bombs. As the planet's medical team arrives, a man appears beside Dr. Crusher and kidnaps her before anyone can react. So then we have the introduction, and then after the introduction, we are back on the Enterprise because Picard is meeting with the staff, and Data says the man did not use the transporter, as the transporter would leave an ionization trail, and there was none. And Riker says people just can't disappear. Well, obviously this guy just disappeared. Data says they are unable to locate Dr. Crusher by her communication device and suggests she's in a shielded location. And Picard asks, why her? Worf believes she was the intended target. Riker says, why would they want to take a Federation member hostage? The fight is not with us. Worf says, it is now. Back on the planet, Finn asks Beverly her name and offers her some food. Beverly stays silent. He says, you are a doctor on a Federation starship and wonders what it would be like to travel across the galaxy. You want to go? Okay. Oh, let me put you down. There you go. Then he says, this is not the best way to meet people. Well, duh. He tells her his name is Curl Finn and if she needs anything. Then we are back on the Enterprise, and Troy is telling Wesley about the situation on the planet, and they believe they have no reason to believe that she has been hurt. And Picard says it's more likely that they will take care of her and use her as a bargaining chip. And Wesley's like, a bargaining chip? And Troy explains all that. And then they have a discussion about pawns. Picard tells Wesley that a group of separatists have been trying to free themselves from the rule of the Eastern Continent, and if they can get the government to just listen, then his mother's kidnapping would serve as a purpose. He believes that this is their goal, but he's not sure, and he doesn't care. He tells Wesley he's going to a meeting, and Wesley wants to go, and Picard's like, no, you're more valuable here, working with Data and Geordi to find the how the device works that they travel by. So Troy and Picard talk after Wesley leaves, and they talk about terrorism. Then back on the planet, Riker and Picard meet with the leader, and the leader explains their policies. After the meeting, Riker stays on the planet. Then they show Finn offering Dr. Crusher food again, and he takes her off her restraints, and she asks why they have brought her here. He says they need doctors. She said the planet has doctors. He said they need better ones. He said he heard, and he won't say from who or how or what, that she was with the Federation, and she had to be better than the doctors they have on the planet. And again, you won't tell her where he heard that stuff from. Finn says her ship is carrying medical supplies for the other side. He wants to know why the Federation is siding with the Ruitans. And Dr. Crusher's like, we're not siding with anybody, we're just bringing the medical supplies. Well, duh! By bringing the medical supplies to the enemy, you're supporting the enemy. I think if they had known about both sides, they either could have not brought medical supplies at all or brought medical supplies for both sides, is what might have been done. But that'll never happen now. Finn interrupts her with all that, and he's like, yeah, you brought medical supplies. Dr. Crusher says people were hurt. He says, yeah, I heard them. He tells her to get up. She says she has a son, and Finn says, well, you'll see him soon. He goes, I have no reason to kill you at this time. He takes her to another room to treat wounded patients. She says she will need medical supplies to diagnose and treat the patients. He says, if I allow you to contact their ship, they will, to transport the instruments, they'll know where you are and all that kind of stuff. And she says when she informs the captain how serious the situation is, he will agree with her and he would probably work with Finn. But Finn doesn't believe any of this because he believes that the Federation has sided with the other side. And he doesn't believe that the Federation doesn't want to take sides because they have taken sides because they gave medical supplies to the other side. Then a kid interrupts him and brings in medical supplies. And next we see Riker going over a list of names of citizens who are sympathetic to the cause. And they pass along info and weapons and march in demonstrations. And Riker quizzes the leader how this started 70 years ago, and they killed children and all this kind of stuff. Then we're back in the underground, and Dr. Crusher says that the DNA is warped and it's destroying their entire cellular chemistry, and she can't do anything. She goes, I can make them more comfortable, but the damage is too extensive. She says she could possibly be treated if she found someone earlier in the disease stage. He tells her they know the cause. It's their transporter that allows them to dimensional shift. Dr. Crusher says you can't do that with humanoid tissue. The designers told us there would be risk, but it works. Dr. Crusher examines Finn, and he is showing the same signs as the other patients. He says it doesn't matter. She says it will kill you. He says, don't you know a dead martyr is worth 10 posturing leaders? Back on the Enterprise, Data says a subspace field coil with an isolated perissource. And Geordi says that the Rutan picked up a nuclear vibration. And Wesley says they spent time studying this in astrophysics. And Data says Wesley can't remember what the name was. Like, I forget shit sometimes. And Data says it was the Elway theorem, the interdimensional travel that was abandoned in 23rd century because it proved to be fatal. But Wesley said the nuclear vibrations are the same, and the